Good evening. My name is Jim Kello. Welcome to New Tracks, where mentors can help modelers build. Thanks so much for coming this evening. Hope you come back often and tell your friends to join us. If you're new to the show, please go to our website, newtracksmodeling.com, and register or subscribe, and make sure that you reply to the email that you'll get from the website. And if you confirm the email is yours, then in the future, you will get all of the information and login information about our shows, and be able to join us on all of the future shows. If you watch us on YouTube, if you'll go to the YouTube New Tracks Modeling and subscribe. And also, I'm told you need to hit the bell, and then you need to hit the all. Then you will receive notifications for all of our shows when they go live. And you can either watch them live on YouTube, as you can on Zoom, or you can watch them later on YouTube, because they are videoed and they are available on our channel, New Tracks Modeling. If you'd like to offer your help to run one of the shows, we're trying to find somebody on the East Coast that can fill in from time to time, not all the time, but from time to time, to run the shows, so that Ken and Phil, if they're not available, can have a backup person that can actually run the shows for us. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. My email and telephone number are on our website, and our website is newtracksmodeling.com. And let me know, and we'll make arrangements for you to find out what's involved, and have Ken and Phil answer any questions you may have about how the show is done. I had an article published today by the National Retail Hobby Shops Association in their private newsletter or magazine called Hobby Merchandiser. I've also made arrangements for one of their board members, Stephen Elliott, who owns Fundemonium Hobby Shop, to be on our show in February, early February of this year. And I also have another one of their members who's agreed to be on our show, Pogies Trains. And Clark, who owns Pogie Trains, will be on our show November the 10th. I'm really encouraged by the reception that we're receiving from the Hobby Shop Association, because I really think that there's an awful lot of things that we have in common with the owners of the hobby shop. I think in many ways, the problems that we talk about hobby shops and causing us problems, I think many of those problems they're having too. And I really think there's an awful lot of commonality between the interest of the hobby shop owner and the modelers. And I'm not sure in the past that the modelers have really had a seat at the table. And I'm trying to encourage that best I know how. So for the association to be receptive and be willing to listen at least to the argument, and be willing to come on our show and talk to us about what they're involved with, and hear from us what our concerns are, what we like to see from hobby shops, and how maybe we can work together for the benefit of both parties. So I'm really encouraged by that right now. We have some build-alongs tonight, and we have some coming up. The ones that I'll mention that are coming up, all of these are detailed on our website in great detail about the amount of the discounts that the manufacturers are providing to modelers who buy the kits to build along with the modelers on the show, what the model is, what scale it comes in, and so forth. All of that information is available. So on October the 13th, Jim Murphy is going to start building a LaBelle woodworking business card kit in HO. On October the 20th, we have a really special event. I've written about it and posted it on my Facebook page earlier this week. Motrax Models is providing a kit to 4 different modelers. Phil Edholm, Clark Cooning, MMR, Bob Farquhar, and Greg Cassidy. And they're going to build the same exact kit in 4 different scales: N scale, HO, S, and O. And they're going to do it at the same time. And we're going to start this on October the 20th with a fairly long session that'll have the 4 modelers and the owner of the company talk about what the model is all about, and maybe give you some pointers as to tools they recommend and how the show is going to operate with all 4 of them at the same time building the same kit. And I really, I'm looking forward to this because I don't think it's ever been done before. Phil Edholm is the one that came up with the idea, and I think it has a lot of potential to show everybody the different kind of modeling that's involved in the different scales, and that's what Phil was after. And I think that we're going to be able to accomplish that. On November the 6th, David Schultz is going to start building the all-nation waffle-side boxcar. November the 10th, Nick Massey, who owns ITLA scale models, and Brian Schilling are teaming up to build one of the ITLA models on the show. December the 1st, Banta Models is teaming up again with Clark Cooning MMR for a build along. January the 5th, Pierre Oliver, who owns Yarmouth Model Works, is going to build one of their O-scale cars. January the 26th, Chris Coase, owner of Conowingo Models, will be building one of his new kits. And I hope that you'll look at all of these, and I hope that you'll consider joining one or more of these models in building one of the kits. I'm getting an awful lot of positive feedback from the modelers who are participating, and I hope that you'll take a chance and join with us. The next My Build is October the 27th. Hunterline will have finished their build tonight. This is the last segment for their build of their trestle. So you'll have an additional 3 weeks to finish their trestle. And then they'll have a special part of the build of My Build. And Rick is going to be offering a $50 discount on a kit that they produce, that the winner of a random drawing will get on that show. So Chris, let me turn this over to you and let you talk about the My Build.
Oh, thanks, Jim. I was going to share a slide, but this computer doesn't want to cooperate at the moment. But anyway, yes, I want to reiterate.
You can do it now.
The hunters are throwing in a $50 gift certificate. But the only real caveat is that it's got to be one of their kits, and doesn't have to be done or anything. Just send me a photo, and we'll have a drawing amongst those kits. Also, we do have actually quite a few people already signed up, because mainly it's my fault, for the October, I think it's the 26th,
27th
show. So anyway, I'll put my email address in the chat. So please drop me a line, and if you have photos to share. And that goes along with to put your name in the hat for the Hunterline raffle. Make sure that you send me pictures of that of the Hunterline kits. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jim.
Just hey, Chris.
Yeah.
That $50 gift certificate is not just for a kit; it's for any of our products. Like that includes weathering mix or anything.
Okay.
We have another special, thank you, Chris. We have another special segment on there about do you have a question? And we have a form that's easy to fill out on our website. And if you do have a question, then please let us know, and we'll do everything that we can to try to get it answered. Now I'd like to turn to our quick tip of the evening with Paul Thomson. Paul, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. I'm hoping this internet connection will work tonight. I'm getting unstable readings. However, let's try this out. Okay, there we go. And what you're seeing is tomatoes. And yes, I haven't lost my mind. I was out in the garden the other day and taking in the tomatoes, and I discovered something, which is these neat little clips, which are used for vine plants, etc., in the garden. Now, here's a close-up of it closed, and here's a way that I intended it to be used. You can put a stringer through it, and you can bundle wires or kind of organize your wiring under the layout, and these things will clip onto any narrow wire and work very nicely. There's an idea. I suspended one and put a wire through it. It gives you an idea of what you can do with this thing. Now, the best part of this whole nonsense is the price of these things. You can buy 100 of them off Amazon for approximately $6. So if you're looking for something to organize wires temporarily or maybe permanently under your layout and keep things kind of organized, this might be it. And that's my quick tip, guys. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you so very much. That's a great one. That ought to help a lot.
Hold it. We got to ask a question on this.
Okay.
All right.
No, this is a great. What's the diameter of the internal circle? Do you know?
Okay, I'm holding one in my, I would say I can stick a finger through it. So it's about a finger's width. I would maybe say an inch inside diameter.
Okay, so you could put.
I don't have a ruler just handy, but.
Yeah, but you could put maybe a 3/4 inch dowel in there then.
Oh yeah, you could put a 3/4 inch dowel. Like I said, you know, you could put just about anything through this thing. The nice thing about it is it clips on and kind of holds. It's designed to go clip onto strings, so you can. The possibilities are endless. I just happened to be in the garden having a look, and wow, it occurred to me.
You may have solved the curtain issue underneath the layout.
That's another thing too, I suppose. I never even thought of that, but now, how do I stop sharing here? Or did I stop sharing?
No, up at the top. Thank you.
Okay. Am I still sharing?
Nope, not anymore.
Okay, good.
You got anything else, Clark?
No, that was a neat tip, and I'm already on Amazon. Another time he's costing me money. Last time it was over $500.
This one is cheap, and if you get on Amazon, they're called garden clips for plants and vines and that kind of thing.
All right, yeah, because it was your wife that cost me the 600.
Yeah. Well, now I'd like to turn to our different segments tonight of the show and try to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. The first one is Rick and Marie Hunter are completing their build along tonight. So this will be the last session for the build along of the trestle for them. Then we've got Martin Brechbiel, MMR, for his build along of the Leadville Designs model. And then Bill Davis is going to start his new build along. And then we've got a really great featured modeler, Bruce Nickerson of Seaport Models. This is a modeler that and a company that was recommended that I contact by the viewers of the show. So I'm so happy that Bruce is able to join us this evening, and we'll get to him shortly. So let me start tonight with Rick and Maureen Hunter and their trestle, their 81-foot Hunterline trestle build along. Rick, Maureen, welcome.
Hi, Jim. How's everybody tonight? Wow. Okay, we are on the last leg of this project. This is what we're actually making, is our 81-foot trestle. We're doing it in S scale so that it's a little easier to see. And at this point, you should be about this far. So it's just a matter of finishing off a couple little things, and then we'll get going. So we're going to switch cameras. You'd think I know how to do this quicker by now. And I'm going to eliminate me because that gives us a bigger bandwidth, I guess.
Stop video.
I lost it.
Let's get back up there.
Okay. We'll just go with it, I guess.
Okay.
I lost the toolbar. Okay. We'll work with it.
Okay. Yeah, tonight is the final assembly. We're going to work on the platform, and your trestle, if you've been able to follow along, should be at this point where you've got all the sway bracing on, and all the nut bolt washer castings are on there as well. And you had one abutment wall that we were working on last week. We just glued it on and we're letting it dry up, and you can put the pieces of planking across that as well. I've added just a couple extra ones on that end. So we're going to go right ahead and do the platform. There's two drawings that will help you to do the platform, and one is the side view right here. You can see the platform there. Whoops.
There we go.
Yeah, the platform here. And the other drawing is the bent view. And you've got the platform up here. So there's 3 sizes of lumber that you need. You need 3x12s. That's for your platform floor. And you need the 4x4s.
We always seem to get asked, what is the platform for? And it's more of an older thing than a new thing. It's used usually to hold a barrel, and the barrel collects rain, because the old, especially the old wooden locomotives, would send sparks out the chimney and fall on the trestle bridge, on the wood. And the conductor, it was his job to follow behind the caboose and put any little cinders that were going to start the fire. And that's how a lot of trestles ended up, is burnt because of that. Now, it's usually got a barrel, and it's usually open on the top, so it collects the rain. And it usually has a little bucket beside that the conductor can use. We also get asked, how many are there on a bridge? Well, the rule of thumb is about every 200 feet. So when you get those trestles that are a half mile long or whatever, it's about every 200 feet. Technically, on this 81 foot, it shouldn't be there because it's less than 200 feet. But we thought it was a nice little touch to put on it. Another reason for that is if somebody's walking across the bridge and the train's coming, it's a good place to jump off of. And some of them on the big ones are much bigger than ours. And they were for the little hand cars, the little jiggers. They would see the train coming. So they take the jigger up to it and then put it perpendicular to the track and put it on the platform. And then when the train goes by, put it back on. So this one is just strictly for the barrel.
Okay. Yeah, so the other piece of lumber is a 2x4, and that's for your railing. So what we're going to do first is cut the platform floor. And probably best not to use the drawing at all for this, is just to lay your 3x12 right on top of the platform. And just measure the width of that. Just take your 3x12 and just mark it, either with an X-Acto knife, or if you want a little pencil, whatever, something to let you know where to cut. Okay, you want to kind of have it exact so it's flush. I think that was my mark. Hard to see. Yeah, out here. Just marking with that, and I'll just use my razor saw to get the first one. And I'm just going to fit it here and make sure that that's pretty exact. And it needs a little bit of filing. Try that again. A little bit more. You just want to have it flush, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to put your posts on the side.
The flooring that she's doing, it doesn't have to be, the planks don't have to be solid across, like they don't have to be touching each other. It's actually better to have just a little bit of gap in between each one, so that any moisture or rain or snow or whatever can go underneath, instead of sitting on the wood to rot it.
A little bit more here. That looks good. And it says on the bill of materials that we need six of those pieces for the platform. So I'm going to just use the little slicer here, Al Collins slicer.
This is the new one that's just starting to come on the market.
And it's got the repeater on it here. I don't know if is that what you call it? A
Yep.
repeater? Yeah. So I just measured it in there. So I've got my first one. I'm going to just bang off 5 more.
Just to make you a little more familiar, this is not a chopper. This is actually a slicer. And the slicer blade is actually a chisel type of a blade. So it's very accurate on one side, and it's not so accurate on the other side. But when you're doing a little piece of this, it doesn't matter. It's good on both sides. I don't know if Al's got these completely on the market yet or not.
And
But you can see how easy it is.
yeah, it's very easy to work with. All
And
right.
it doesn't take a lot of pressure.
So you want to glue that platform floor. And I'm just going to run a glue strip along each of those longer ties, I guess you call them. And again, like Rick said, you can leave little gaps in here.
Well, I have a question for Al. When is your chopper ready for sale,
It's not a chopper,
or
slicer.
slicer?
It's how long?
The thing is, when I think of slicer, I'm thinking, the meat slicers that you go back and forth and all that. So that's why I called it a chopper, because that's what stuck in my head.
Yeah.
They're getting close. We're having problem with parts. Seems like the COVID pandemic is hitting everything. We're having trouble getting some fasteners and trouble getting some steel. So it's slowed it down, but I would say in the next month to 6 weeks, we should have lots of them on the market. We're making 200, but we don't have enough parts to finish 200. So that's the way it is.
Thanks, Al.
All right. Yes. Thanks, Al. Also, I found another way, another version of using your sander, because I was trying to put the abutment on the bridge, and I didn't have anything that was sort of a 90-degree handle. So I flipped up the I guess the sanding platform of your sander and all that, and I used that as the 90-degree for the bridge. Not sure how close it is to 90, but it's close enough for me.
Actually, Ed, if you use this little thing right here, this is exactly 90 degrees.
No, the way I used it was I flipped it up so it would hold the abutment onto the bridge.
Okay, I
Okay.
think I know what you mean.
Yeah. If you flip that up,
Put this up, that you mean, Ed?
no, the table itself. If you flip the table itself,
The whole thing?
yeah, flip it over.
Hmm.
I mean, not the bottom piece. You know, it's like say if it was mounted to a floor, mounted to the floor.
Like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. And then you can turn around and use the side opposite of the handle as like a 90-degree.
Like a square.
Yeah, like a square.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gotcha.
That's a good idea.
There you go.
So that's your second quick tip of the evening.
Another use. There you go. Okay. So now, let's see here. We're going to do the post, the 4 posts. So you need your 4x4s for that. Got to get rid of all the sawdust there. So I kind of use my bent view drawing for that. And if I can find this is very tiny lumber, so I'm just going to cut the first one here with my X-Acto knife. So just set your 4x4 on that drawing. Okay.
And you cut it to the bottom of the
cut it-
stringer.
Yeah, cut it to the bottom right here. You can see that. And then the top is just
Under the rail.
under that rail. The rail is going to be sitting on top of the post. Okay, so there's my one. And I'll use the slicer again. It's very tiny.
This also slices fingers.
Hopefully not. Okay, so we got the one measured and I can just do 4 of them. Two, 3. And 4.
Now, for every bridge, every platform is designed a little different, but the common thing is to have a 4x4 post with 2x4 railings on them, because that's what was readily available. So the thing here is they have to be glued to the stringers. So if the little platforms that are on there now, if they're sticking out, if they're protruding just a little bit too far, then you should file them down. So the posts, the 4 posts go on the outside corners. So here and here. And then this, the second one goes somewhere in the middle along here.
This number is. Just a minute.
Isn't that what this is?
I think that is. Hang on.
Chop, chop. Whoops, I'm not supposed to say that.
Okay. So if you look on your bent view drawing where the platform is, I'm going to turn this on the side if I can. And you're going to glue to the outside of the platform floor at the corners, 2 corners, and then just midway, oh, can I show you that here? Well, look on your drawing and you'll see that that other post is midway between the last tie and the end of the floor. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of that post and just hold it up.
Make sure the platform, the plank there is not
Flush.
protruding.
Yeah, it's got to be flush and try and put them perpendicular.
Okay.
I don't think I have a clamp here that's going to hold that. Maybe. Let me see. That might. It might. I don't know if it's small enough. No.
Don't try this in N scale.
I have to try and. I'm going to put a little bit more glue on there, I think.
What kind of glue are you using?
It's a tight bond.
Would something like Arlene's, which has got a tacky type glue, be advantageous?
I've heard that that's very good. I've never tried it, but I've heard. Yeah.
I use it quite a bit, and it does come in pretty handy because it'll stick things together while it's drying. You still sometimes have to use clamps, but most of the time it will work by itself.
Yeah, that's what we always suggest is carpenter glue, first of all, not just regular glue, but being fast, tacky.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see her first post there is almost secure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't breathe too hard.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of hold it for a few minutes to get it to stick. That one doesn't want to. Put a little bit more glue.
Yes, we do in N scale.
If that's going to stay or not. And then you want to put the other two just midway on that platform. So I'm going to go for about there. Yeah. One last one here.
Oh, you just lost it.
I lost
And
that
that
one.
one needs a little bit of stick, more stick.
Lost the one. Might not be able to glue all this tonight.
Got a question
Okay.
for you. In this application where you're doing, shall we say, small glue surfaces, would crazy glue work better for this application right there?
It could,
Maybe.
because see, we don't like using any of the CA glues because you don't get the play time. Even though before the show started, we were talking about CA glues that have time limits on it. And what we use that for is when we stick to the wood. And we'll be doing that just a little later on because we're going to put the barrel on here.
Well,
This is not getting tacky.
it's not gluing for me.
Do you want to try the CA glue?
And I don't usually have trouble with this glue. It hasn't frozen here yet.
No.
Well, let me try some of this CA glue. See what happens. Okay. I think I've got any left in there, do I? Maybe not.
Yeah, I
Maureen,
just said,
what this shows is that even the most talented modelers have situations.
oh, for sure.
It's how you come up with the solution.
As long as my fingers don't stick to
Yeah.
the platform. we'll
Yeah.
keep-
I'll tell you a story about that. We were at a Canadian show one time, and this fellow was building his model there, and he was so proud of it. And he was using nothing but CA glues. And then I know you can't see me now, but he put his hand up on his cheek to, look at what he's doing. And of course, he was in a lot of trouble because 4 fingers and a thumb were stuck to his cheek.
Oh,
And they made an
Wow.
announcement across the PA, does anybody have the antidote? Well, sure, I have it. So it took us about 2 hours, a fraction of an inch at a time, putting the acetone on his fingers to pull him off a little bit. So it took about 2 hours and we had his hand off.
Now, the other piece, where did it go to? There it is. Okay. Well, that's a good tip. Whoever told me to try this CA glue, it's working.
Rick, what's the longest trestle from your kits that you've heard a modeler build?
I think the one fella had about, in HO, he had about 4.5 feet,
Jeez.
just by adding all the kits together.
Yeah.
And when you get that many kits, you don't have to have it this high. You can have it a lot higher.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think those posts are on.
And now we're going to talk a minute about the railing, the handrail. One of the things in construction is you put it so that if you fell outwards, that the wood isn't going to go. Like what I'm saying is, okay, on this platform, if you put the handrail on the outside and you, for some reason, tripped or something, all the nails would give way. If you put it on the inside, that wood would save you. So any type of a handrail is always from the inside to the outside. Now, this particular one that we're going to do is the extreme outside one. We're actually going to lay the top one flat.
Yeah, you can use the bent view drawing to get your side railings. Okay, so you can use your 2x4s for that. So I'm just going to cut them. I cut 2 side ones. Well, actually 4 side ones because you want to get the top.
Now, if the carpenters were really good, they could actually miter the corners on the corner posts, but usually they weren't that smart. So the one just lies flat on top, and then the ones on the side are slightly under.
I'm just checking these to make
You'll
sure.
see as you start to progress about putting it on.
Yeah. So we're going to put the side ones right on the top. I hope you can see that there.
It doesn't matter if the side ones are on the top or the outside one that's on the top.
So I'm going to use that.
So this is really up to whatever way you want to do it. Just remember that if a person falls, they got to hit the wood. And if it's fastened from the outside, it's not going to save you. If it's fastened from the inside, it will.
Okay. Just very carefully. It would be a good idea for you to let the post set up before you do this.
Well, it was CA glue, so
But-
it should be pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad here. And the other side, stick a little bit of glue on the top of the post. Yeah. These might be a little bit out of line. Not too bad.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got those on.
I'll
Now,
see if I can show you this bottle. Now, we got this from B&B Hobby. He's at the Timonium show all the time. And it's if you can see, it says it's This one takes, where is it? 10. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. I'll read it to you.
Hunters.
It takes 10 to 20 seconds to set up. So this is one of the CA glues that has a time limit. I think there's 0 to 3, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20. And I think there's one that goes all the way up to about 30 or 40. They're really neat. It's a CA properties, but you can play with it a little bit.
So stick a little bit of glue on the ends of that side rail and go from the inside.
See, this is what I mean. See that the plank she's putting on now is fastened on the inside. So if you leaned against it, you're not going to fall over. Like the nails aren't going to give way.
Oops. And a little bit more glue on here.
And that's just a basic framing construction way of doing it.
And see if I can turn this just on the inside. Oh. Okay. So they're on. So then you want to get your front railing, get all these glues out of here. And I'm going to flip down to the other drawing.
So she's putting on 2x4s. Now in N scale, we have N scale 2x4s, which are about 11 thou by 21 thou, which is a very little piece of wood.
So I'm just laying my railing on the drawing and cutting right to the outside of each of the posts. And I'm going to cut 2 of those. And just make sure that that's going to fit. Yeah, it'll be okay. So I don't know. Oh, I got to come in. Sorry.
There we go.
Okay. So the top one I can put just, it has to be from the inside though. Okay, so I'm going to put it inside, stick my glue on each end. That railing is still a little wet, not dry. And I'm going very carefully from the inside here. Oops.
But we don't like oops.
No. Let's knock that off. Best to let it dry first. But anyway, we're getting it in. Got the second one. A little bit of glue there. And stick it in here. Oops. Again.
As your fingers
I
are
might
going to
have
stick to it.
Yeah. Having trouble with that one. Yeah. Okay. I think maybe part of my problem is I need to cut that one a bit longer. So I will do that.
Okay,
Later.
I'll talk about the little diagonal one. We're going to just show you the other drawing here. Now you can see that there's a diagonal piece coming down here. This actually is not needed. I just thought it looked good with it on. The issue is, depending on your locomotives, if they have a big cow catcher, they're going to knock it off. One of the first ones I did, whatever I was running at the time, banged into it, knocked it right off. So if you're running pretty wide locomotives, I wouldn't be doing that one. Well, you could put them on. If it knocks it off, okay, leave it off. It's just a little bit more support.
I'm just cutting that diagonal one.
Like you can see how close it's actually getting to the rail. It's just near the end of the tie. So the ties here are 10 foot. So that means half of it would be 8 foot. So if your locomotives are more than 8 foot from the center line, and that would be one of the things if you're building on a curve, it might be a foul point for you. So it's not necessary to put these on.
Let me just try to get this railing on here. At the front, cut it a little bit bigger, so it might be a little easier to get it on, maybe not. Yeah, I'm not dry. Yeah. I think I have to let this dry up.
Yeah.
It's kind of sitting there, but not really. Anyway, that's done. And then if you want to put those side diagonal bracing on, it would go like that.
Can't see it.
Oops, sorry. Whoop. Let me see. Kind of like that. Can you see that? It would go like
Yep.
that. Okay. Glued to the platform floor and then to that post, the center post. Okay. So I think that can be part of your homework and mine too, I think. So the next thing, so your platform's all done and you've got your little barrel was supplied to you. And what you need to do is file the bottom.
Where the flash is.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Yeah,
flash.
that little nubby on the bottom of your barrel. Just file that flush so it's going to stay glued to your platform floor. And you can paint the barrel. You can paint it a bright red. If you want to use acrylic paint, just use a bright red. And you can use the black creosote black weathering mix and put a wash on it. And it looks really nice. It highlights the rings on that barrel. And you would just glue the barrel on the platform. Whoop, see that?
Yep.
And there's two little lids that are supplied to you. One has, what do you call that?
It's a
hang on,
slat.
to see. Slats on it.
And the other one's just a
Just
straight,
just a
flat
plain one. So just take those off the spew, file the little nubby thing again, and you can just put a black wash on that as well, or paint. And you can glue that lid onto the
It
top
can
of the
go
barrel.
on
Yeah.
or a little off center from it, a little
Yeah.
skewed so that the rain will go in, or just lean it against the side.
Yeah. Oftentimes I'll just take it and glue it on the side like that.
Now,
Oops.
I have to mention here that the lid that's
Yeah.
slat, the slats on it. Nobody made one of those. So our MBWs and stuff come from Tishy. And so I went to Tishy and I said, I want this slatted barrel lid. And so he said, send me the design. So I designed that little lid. And now he produces it.
I just put some CA glue on that and I popped the barrel on there. So I've just glued it onto the platform floor. And I'll do the lid later. I'll just run some CA glue on the top and just set it there.
It's best to offset it just a little bit so
Yeah.
that the rain will go in.
Yeah. So the next step for you to do is to just go over your model, take your
Dark color,
yeah.
your dark weathering mix.
First of all, go over all your raw cut edges. Okay, make sure they're all. How much time have we got here, Rick? Are we almost?
We're really, Rick, I hate to say it, we've got a busy show tonight and
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
we're way out of time.
Okay, all right. So just follow up, take your creosote black and make sure you go over all your suede races to cover your MBWs, and take your black and just drizzle it along the track where you think all the dirt, grime, and grease and oil would be. And
So all the people
It's
that are
finished.
building this with us, please send your pictures in.
thank you.
All right,
Excellent.
thanks, guys. This has been just great.
Well, I can't thank you enough for you both to do what you've done, and I'm sorry to have to push you tonight, but we're just running so tight on time tonight. But I do hope that everybody will send the pictures in, because I think, Rick, it's so nice of you guys to offer the $50 credit on one of your other products to the person that gets drawn on the 27th of October show. So thanks so much for doing that, and particularly thank you and your wife both for the great model build that you did on the show.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
Oh, that's great. Well, now I want to turn to Martin Brechbiel, MMR, for his build along of the Leadville Designs maintenance away car. Martin, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. Oops, wait a minute, lost it there. There we go. Okay. Pick up where we left off last week, which is, I'm not sure where that was because that was a whole week ago. Okay, yeah. So we finished the underbody and brake system without any serious injuries. There was one mild reportable velociraptor incident, but it's been 2 days since the last incident, so we're okay. That sign actually used to hang in my laboratory at the National Cancer Institute, so it was a vicious place to work. So let's look at the top of the car. We spent all the first 2 sessions looking at the underside. It's time to look at the top side. We've got inner and outer sides here. Just looking at the parts, these are not quite the same. They're slightly different offset on the windows, which means the inside, nice thick pieces. These are very thin 64th plywood laser cut. This is actually fairly thick wood here, but you have to make sure that you align, you glue the right outer piece to the right inner piece. Otherwise, you've got a slight problem. But it's pretty obvious. Everything, you've got doorways openings, you've got window openings, you have these 2 slots. It has to align. There's only one way to do it. You probably won't get it wrong unless you really work at it. So you can see what they look like. Again, now they're matched up. Window, window, door, door, window, 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 door, door. And these slots are actually, those go on the inside because that's where the roof bracing fits in. There's what the ends look like, inner and outer. Again, yeah, the one with the door opening probably goes with the inner one with the door opening as well. You probably will get that right. Don't mess around and get that wrong. And this slot here, again, is on the inside is for the center beam. So it's all lined up for you. Now it's just a matter of gluing the pieces together. And that's mildly tricky. Okay, they look very simple from this side. Everything's just lined up, glued together. Well, the interesting part about this is it's aligned at the top and it's aligned centered. You need these little extra pieces on the ends because they wrap around the end of the car. So you have these lap joints that are going to actually make it a really strong construction. And you can see that the roof pieces fit in the slots. And this overhang here at the bottom actually is what gets glued to the underbody frame of the car. So it's all overlapping joinery. So that makes it a very nice, very sturdy construction. So it's all tight bond glue, works very nicely. You want to use something else, go ahead, but I'm using just basic carpenter's glue, nothing fancy. There's no need for it to get fancy with anything specialized on almost this entire car. So put it all together. Well, you know, that's really simple to say. You need to get these pieces aligned properly. And you can see the lap joints in the corners. So what I did was to get one end on and work my way from left to right. And test fit everything. So test fitting, this is critical. Lots of clamps. Start at one end, clamp it together, make sure everything overlaps properly and it's not too far off. Then come back and glue it in and glue it to the car body all at the same time, because the car body keeps it aligned and square for you. So you don't need to keep it square. You build it to the car body that's laser cut square already. It's already done for you. And I went ahead and dropped in the roof supports, these two cross members and the long member. And that may have been a bit early, which I got excited and jumped ahead and dropped those in right away. And then I realized this car is kind of light. It's a small car, it's ON3, but it's still kind of light. It's a lot of empty space. And there's not much wood here. There's not much, there's not a lot of white metal detail parts. So I pulled out some 1mm sheet lead to put in the bottom, which got a little interesting wrapping that around through the openings of the roof. So if you're going to put weight in, which I recommend to some extent, if you're going to add some weight to it, do it before you put these in, the roof supports, while it's still open, or go back before you even put the sides on and put it on the base. But it's a lot harder navigating sheets of lead through here, and it's even more fun when there's sheets of lead with glue on the bottom of them, because you don't want to get that on everything as you navigate through there with forceps, hemostats, and tweezers through a small space. But it worked out. I got it done. Okay, here's the end trim board. You actually laminate this on top of this. The one that's missing is already on the car. One already installed. These are the side letterboard trim pieces at the top of the sides. All laser cut, nice and easy. They go on, put the ends on first, and you put the full-size piece on first, and then the other piece gets laminated on top, and you drop in the other side piece, which lap joints in. So everything lap joints together on this kit, which makes all these joints nice and strong and tidy and clean. Well, yeah, while we're here, just take a look at the ends. Lots of dimples and those aren't termites. That's where your grab irons go. And then above each grab iron, you put in a nut bolt washer casting. That means you're going to be sitting here drilling a lot of holes. So this is one of those exercises in patience. We'll come back to that later, but there's a lot of holes to drill. So if you only have a pin vise, get ready to exercise your wrist muscles and work on those cramps in the forehand. So here are the window frames and the windows. Okay, you don't need the windows now. Just set those aside because you need to glaze them. And you want to do that right after you paint them and paint everything else. You don't want to put those in now. That's just going to cause you a lot of grief later. You want to set them aside, put them in a bowl, put them in a dish. Don't lose them. Don't have them fly off into space. Just put them aside. Come back to them when we're in the painting stage. The door framing and the window framing, you can see the nice little notches in it. So all the little details are etched in it with a laser. We can put all this stuff on now. And I've already got the door and the door frame in. And just glue these into place. Follow the template on the back page. You see part of it up here that shows where they all go and what direction they go in as well. So they are directional if you're building the prototype. So you have to look at the actual pictures and line each side. And one end's the break end, one end is not the break end. So you know which end is which end is which. And how do you know which one's the break end? And when you haven't put the brake wheel in, you'll look at your brake gear underneath. It points to the end with the brake wheel or where the brake wheel is going to go. So all the cues are already in the model to tell you which end is which and which end everything points at. And we got some more brass bits out of the fret. Okay. These are the lower corner, low end corner bracing. There's a medium bracing too. These are the end buffers, and it's little brass pieces that go over them. So yeah, all pre-etched to line up the holes where the nut, bolt, and washer castings go. So you need to clean these up, glue the brass to the wood, and then glue the wood to the car end. These get folded up and applied. And this is where I like to use the slightest amount of goo and take it all apart and then put a little bit of CA in place. And that puts brass to metal pretty much irreversibly. So you you got to line up your two holes with those two holes. You got to get right the first try. You will not get a second try if you use that combination. I'm going to stop here. We have a short night tonight, which I think fits in well with Jim's plans, remarkably and fortuitously. So it's a good place to stop for a pause to air, let everybody else catch up with me, gather what few wits remain in the jar, because you're going to need them next, because we're going to go do a lot of grab irons, and we're going to bend a lot of brass wire, and we're going to drill a lot of holes. And that gets so exciting so quickly that I can barely wait till next week. And I'm done.
Martin, I got one question for you before because this is a short section.
Yes,
you mentioned something that modelers that may never have done the complete underbody detail before may have missed.
Right.
Would you go back over how you tell from the underbody brake detail the location of which end the brake wheel goes on?
Sure. Well, last week we were right here. You with me still, Jim?
Yeah, but
okay, so here.
But you said if you look at the underbody detail, the direction of the
that's where I'm going, right here. You see where this brake cylinder is pointing?
No, all I see is your face.
Oh, bugger. What happened to my share? Okay, let's go escape from that, and we'll come back to sharing that. And let's try that. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Now I see.
Okay, so come on up full screen. There we are. Okay, so here's your brake cylinder, and this little end, I call that it's pointing its finger right out the end. This is the line that connects to your brake wheel. So your brake wheel's at this end. So you can always just flip the car over and say, which way is this thing pointing? When you have a K-brake or a two-piece K-brake assembly, one end of it's always pointing towards the brake wheel. So you always know where that end of the car is. You want to talk about AB brake systems, that's a little more complicated, but it's still got a brake cylinder, it's got a connection to the end. It points to the end. So there's your cue. It tells you, it just teaches you which way is this going? It's going to that. It's going that way.
Thanks, Martin. I really do appreciate it.
Martin, wait, Jim, one more question for Martin.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's two ends on this car, one with a door, one without a door. Do you need to make sure you have the right end with the right end of the car for the brake cylinder?
Exactly, and that's, I left that out. Thank you. I overlooked that. You're exactly right. And once again, you look at the drawings, it tells you which end has the door on it and which end doesn't have the door. And you know which end is the brake end, you know which end is the door end. It's right. All the information's right there. You just have to be careful to check it as you go. You shouldn't have any problems. I keep saying one thing about this kit is the instructions and the diagrams really provide all the information you're going to need. It's impressively complete. I wish more people, I wish more kit makers would take note.
Just say this, Martin, don't ask me how I know about that possible error.
Oh, yeah, I suspected that already. I think I've probably been there once or twice.
Yeah,
Well,
been there.
Thanks so much, Martin. I really do appreciate it.
Nope, no problem.
Well, now let's turn to our last build along for the evening with Bill Davis. And Bill is building the Tobacco Barn by Rail Scale Models. Bill, welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for doing
Hi,
this.
hi, guys. It's been a while since I've been on here. So let me get the share going here and see what we got going on. Okay, desktop, maybe. Share. Okay, I don't want that on there. Take that off there. Close, cancel that. Take that, minimizing. There we go. Click here. Okay, and we want to full screen this, which is right there. Which is right there. Maybe. Okay, where's the full screen, guys? Hello?
Maybe bottom left, the thing that looks like a TV screen.
Oh, okay, that's the one.
There you go.
There we go. All right. All right. Okay, so we're going to be building the rail scale model tobacco barn. This is part one. I live in North Carolina. Tobacco is very, very important in this area as a cash crop, especially in the area where I live, which is west of Raleigh. These barns were various sizes depending on how big the farms were and how much tobacco they were actually getting to be processed and get ready for shipment to the warehouse. At one time in my town, there were two railroads that crisscrossed each other in the Verena part of where I live. This is true today, but then one of them is now gone. And most of this industry is now gone from here. It's becoming a bedroom community. But there's many of these old barns still standing, and the present Norfolk Southern runs through the town. Tobacco barns were used to cure the tobacco before taking it to the warehouse. These barns can be, like I said, can be very large or could be small depending on the farm size. How this worked is there was a fire pit in the middle. They tied and hung the tobacco from beams across the barn and kept it closed and let it heat and dry until it dries out the green raw tobacco leaves. So let's look at some examples of these kind of barns. As you can see, this is in very bad shape here. This is actually not a tobacco barn, but it's the same type of barn a tobacco barn would be. The only thing missing from this barn would be the heating system, and a couple different views of it. We'll come back to this picture again later on. This is an actual tobacco barn here. At least it was at one time. You can see they have the way of providing heat, way of providing fuel for the fire that would be used to dry it. Here's the front side, and now it's just used for storage. But you can see here, see these wraps going across here? That's where they would have hung the tobacco. And they could have them, see, there's multiple levels they could have hung this. So they could hung a lot of tobacco in this barn and then have the heating system going and just close the doors and let it cure the tobacco without destroying it. This is another view of the same barn. I really like this barn. Actually, I was driving by and the old lady was out there mowing her yard, and I stopped to look at the one across the street, and she came over and talked to me, and she gave me a whole tour of the old barns and stuff like this on her property. So it was pretty cool. This is one that has been refinished. They've added metal sheeting on it and stuff, as you can see, and a much larger awning here, more modern doors and stuff like this. But at one time, this was a tobacco barn as well. The brick foundation raises it up, and then the fire was inside where the brick foundations were. Just another view of it. Now this is in the Fuquay Arena Museum. Right down here, you can barely see it because of this thing's in the way here, but this is where the vent for the fire came out, and you can see the pipe that came up here where they vented the smoke out of there. But this is actually one that was built with logs. It was a real barn that they moved from a farm in town and restored it to this condition. And this is, okay, so let's talk about the kit here. Railscale Models is an awesome kit manufacturer, and he's very careful about how he cuts the laser wood, how he lasers the wood to make sure the grain goes the correct direction. Everything is done just very precise. They're excellent kits, whether you do them in N scale, HO scale, O scale, whatever scale, his stuff is exceptional. I can't say enough about Steve's work. However, this was the wall for the side, and I felt that the battens were way too close together for O scale. Also, I wanted to have it to be quite weathered without being destroyed like some of the barns I showed you, but I just wanted it to be old looking. And so I decided to reverse all these walls and do my own batten work. And so, so this is what I did. I scored the wood, and then I used HO 3x6 to make the battens, having one missing here, having one short here. I used various colors of stains that I had to create the different tones along here. I may do some of these walls. I may decide to do some very peeled paint. You notice on the bottom of this wall here, I made it a little more rougher from the wear and stuff. So, so remember this wall here, you notice how they had the vertical battens and they had the roofing paper on the wall. Apparently this was something they either did originally or they did later on to make the building that was going in bad shape be in better shape again. So, and eventually that all went bad as well. So I decided to do one wall like that. And so to do that wall, I used, I once again reversed Steve's wall, and I used Stony Creek's tar paper roofing and weathered it out there, chipped it up, tore some holes in it and things. And then I added all the battens around. So anyway, that's the first step of building this building. If you're doing an HO scale or N scale, the siding is perfectly fine. The siding's fine for O scale. I just wanted it to be a little different. And most all the barns I saw in the area where I live had boards that were like at least 12 inches wide. And the siding that was provided, the batten that was providing was much smaller than that. And so I decided to do it this way. Plus I wanted one wall to be, like I said, covered with the tar paper. And so this is the end wall. And as you can see, there is a grain issue with this. That's why I said I may end up painting this wall with some kind of some color. I haven't decided what color it would be to at least this part of the wall here with some kind of a color so I could get rid of this effect in here. It's wood, and wood has grain, and grain can be an issue and stuff. So that pretty much is it for tonight. Next time we'll discuss the painting of the brickwork and cutting the foundation pieces and assembling the four walls. That's it, Jim.
Bill, let me ask you a question. For modelers building in the other scales, the S scale, HO scale, N scale, the walls that come in the kit, what you would say is go ahead and use those as they are, right?
Yeah. I think that I measured out the spacing on the battens, and they were perfect for HO. And they would have been about 6 inches in O scale. And I just wanted, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what was provided. I just wanted it to be more rustic, and I wanted it to be bigger boards. That was just a personal choice. It was nothing to do with Steve's work.
I understand. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look forward to you next week.
Okay, I'll be here.
Thank you.
All right.
And now let's turn to our featured modeler, Bruce Nickerson. And Bruce, I really do appreciate you being here tonight. Your Seaport Models is a company that several of the viewers on the show wanted me to invite you to be here this evening. And so I know that there's interest in your models, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. Thank you.
Well, Jim, I appreciate your asking me. I'm very happy to be here this evening.
Oh,
now,
that's great.
if I can figure out what I was taught earlier about what I do here to get my website up. I think
Just click on the green share down at
Yeah.
the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, green share. Yep.
And then just click on where you see your website.
All right. Wait a minute now. Got something messed up there.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. I'm gonna, if I hit share screen, it might come up, huh?
Well, hit share screen. Hit the green at the bottom, share screen.
Right.
And doesn't it open up that set of windows you saw before when you click on the share screen you're on the Zoom window?
Yeah.
And click where it says share screen at the bottom. And then you should see a bunch of little windows open up.
Yeah.
And one of them should have your website on it. And click on that and then click share.
Okay, the website's gone. Okay.
Well, go open your browser and make sure your website's there.
Yeah.
Go find your website on your computer. Go open Firefox.
Yeah. Where was I? Okay. I like it. That's the website's up.
Okay, now to the share again.
Okay, if I can find it here.
Go back, find Zoom.
Yep.
And then click on share. And you should see your website there.
I see the website. I'm just
Click on that once, and then click on where it says share at the bottom right.
I get it and then I lose it. So the website's up. Oh boy.
So you see the website on your screen, right?
So the website,
and when I hit, okay, right now I can see share screen, but I'm having a hard time getting the mouse up to hit the share screen. It disappears. Share screen.
So you can't see the mouse go over to that green share screen?
I got it there now. I'm trying to share the screen. Yeah, I'm clicking on it. Share.
there you go.
Hey, listen, I told you I was a novice at this. I'm surprised I did that well. But anyway, it's great to be with you this evening, and thank you for having me again. And talking earlier, probably the best thing for me to do is just go to the website, because that's where all my business is, and that's where all the products are, and I'll know what I'm talking about when I talk to you. So you want me to proceed?
Yes.
All right. First, a little bit about, not who we are. We make model boats for model railroaders is what we do. And then the parts that come off that process are many times sold as fittings for other projects, or for enhancing the models that you might build from scratch. The key thing we learned many years ago was that when I go to design a model, first of all, I usually try to work with working craft, which is tugboats, barges, things that have to do with where the rail meets the sea, rather than classic yachts and fast boats and that type of thing. I pretty much stayed away from most of that, and I'm pretty much designing kits and continue to design kits that support the transfer of people or product and tie in with the rail system. Quick story, the tying in of the rail system in this country has been critical. There was a time back when Canada wanted to run a rail line to Boston. And the reason they wanted to do that was because the St. Lawrence Seaway freezes up in the wintertime and they couldn't get their product to England on a timely basis. So some smart young lawyer in Portland, Maine, which is between Boston and Canada, knew something. He knew that Portland, Maine was a shorter distance to England than Boston was. So he gets in a carriage, and he horse-drawn carriage, he drives all the way up to Canada, and he sells to people in Canada the idea that the first train line coming into the United States from Canada will go to Portland, Maine. And that's where it went, and it went there for good reason, because now we have the shortest distance to move freight. So this, knowing some of these things gave me the incentive to look at this thing only from a commercial basis. In other words, I'm going to make boats that are going to have commercial needs. They're going to support commercial needs throughout the country. Unfortunately, I live on the East Coast, so much of what I know about boats is East Coast boats. But we're trying to learn more about the Great Lakes boats and some of the Western boats. But I'm gonna pick a boat right now. I'm gonna go up to the top that says pet product category, and I'm gonna get down to HO boats, hull structures, and lighthouses. And we're gonna go over here to waterline kits. And I'm gonna hit that. And I'm gonna go to a boat that right now is pretty popular out there in the market. We're having a hard time keeping them in stock. And it's an H150W, that's our code number, but it's a shrimp boat. And shrimp boat isn't just down south. We use shrimp boats up as far as Connecticut and maybe even a little further north. So the shrimping industry has been a major commercial industry on the eastern seaboard of the United States. So I'm going to take this boat and I'm going to try to show you how I make a kit and why we do what we do. So this is the boat. And the first thing I want to talk about is you see all these posts and these masts and these booms and all this complicated stuff that the model has to build. Well, it's true, they are a little bit complicated, and some kits have this and some kits don't. But the shrimp has got to have this. It's got to have the booms to settle down, to keep the boat from rocking. It's got to have the mast to pull the lines in, and it's just got to have this stuff to function. So what we did in the kit was we created patterns where you can drop these individual lengths of styrene into them and then glue at the joints, and then just remove this whole assembly from this jig and then start gluing these parts together. So it's really taking a lot of the, let's say, master modeling of model boats out of the question. One of the problems we had in going into the model railroad industry was I had to recognize that the model railroad people may not be, they may be, but they may not be model boat builders. And model boat building can be kind of tedious and be kind of drive you crazy, to be quite honest with you, if you don't know what you're doing. So the trick was to come up with kits that kept the character of the vessel, but made the darn thing easy to assemble. This is an ongoing battle back and forth. And when I show some of my models to some of the people who really know model making in the model boat in industry, you know, they'll say, well, Bruce, this should be here and this should be here. And you should have a line here and you should have a line here. Well, look, it's not going to work. We're just not going to do that. We're going to give a kit that has the primary stays, the primary halyards, the primary working lines that run the primary facility of that vessel, which means anchor lines, stays that hold masts up, key lines that allow masts and booms to move. We'll put those in the kit, but we're not going to put every blessed little line in that kit. You'll never build a kit. So that's one thing. The second thing is the hull. The hull is probably the most difficult part of building any model boat. So we decided a long time ago to make the hull for the model. And this hull has been made from a urethane rubber mold. First, it's made from a patent. I sit down the bench and I take templates and photographs and dimensions and drawings, and I reduce it down to 1/87 scale or 1/160th scale. And with those templates, I'm able to build a block. And from the block, I'm able to build walls. And if you look at this hull, this is a wall. I call it a shell. This originally was a block of wood or a block of resin. And then I worked from the outside of that block and created these walls. From that, so what you're looking at there in that hull could actually be a pattern. And then I take urethane, put the urethane over it, pour resin into the urethane, and now I come out with a beautiful hull like this. It's not solid, but it's certainly strong enough to hold the deck, which is right here, one-piece deck. So now the bulwarks are all in, the bulwark being the railing around the outside. The bulwarks are already molded into the hull. We don't have to worry about that. So we've given the modeler the hardest part of building a model boat. We've given them a hull that is made to the design of the drawings, the original boats. In many cases, many of the kits that we do are copies of you're prototypically correct to a specific boat. In the case of the shrimper, it was pretty hard to do. There's thousands of shrimpers out there. So we took a generic shrimper and went to work. The hull being done for you, now we can say the superstructure, which is your pilot house, which is your deck house, this is no more than building a structure on land. It's basically, it's four walls, it's a roof, it's windows, it's doors, and many of the items that we use to fulfill these structures are parts that are used in many of the kits, structure kits that are produced today. We use tissue windows, we use tissue fittings. We've incorporated a lot of standard items into this. So the only difference here is that there may be a curve on the bottom edge of the walls. So we take care of that when we make the design of the superstructure. We put the curve in to the wood, so the modeler does not have to go and second guess what this curve will be. It's done for him. Then we go and we pack it all up, and I let somebody do a drawing for me, and I send it to a laser cutter, and he comes up with all of this, which is laser cut wood. So now we have a laser cut wood superstructure on top of a resin hull. That's basically the way it works. Some of the hulls are solid because that's the way we originally did them. We didn't know how to do the fancy molding and make shells. Over the years, we've learned how to save on resin, how to save on weight, and increase structure and strength. Because just because something is solid doesn't mean that it's strong. It's not. It's just heavy, and it costs a lot to mail, and it costs a lot to weight. So let me just keep going with this one. These are just different views. This is the Sadie Grace. This was a boat that I had seen down in Charleston, and it was pretty messy. This boat basically has all the lines as I was talking. It has the stays, it has halyards, it has boards. It basically has everything you need to run shrimping operation and to look authentic. By the way, this is sitting on our diorama. If some of you have seen the diorama, it's a 6-foot diorama of a waterfront. And this Lucky Williams ice house behind here is a kit that we're working on right now. I've been working on that kit for about 2 years in the workbench. It takes me a long time to finish something. So hopefully this will be out for the Springfield show up here at Amherst, the Amherst show in Springfield. That's one boat. This boat is
is got a lot of detail in it. It's not the easiest kit in the world to build. You've got to be able to use your CA glues. You've got to be able to, put 4 walls together. But it's certainly not the hardest thing in the world to do. It's 4 walls on top of a deck. The curvature of the wall, the base is all done for you. The hull is done. Assemble it and have fun weathering, because boats, it's all about weathering. Because working boats are not necessarily clean. Okay, I'm going to go from here. Try to get out of this one if I can. I'm not sure how to get out of here without losing everything, but
Go up to your upper left in your browser where it says the back arrow. Just click on the back arrow there. Hold it down. Just click and hold it down.
Yeah.
And go back to your home. There you go.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. I don't want to lose you all.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to go to a boat now that's really been, it's the same thing. It's a waterline. It's a waterline HO boat. And this thing is super. This has been something I came up with about a year ago. I said, I'm going to design this kit. This kit is made totally different than probably any kit that I have ever done, in that I have molded for you the complete hull, as you can see. I have molded for you the complete pilot house with the pilot house roof. And then I have molded the 4-wall assembly as one piece for the deck house and the deck house roof. And there's your smokestack. This little piece right here is a floor piece that goes under the pilot house that allows the pilot house to ride on the curve up on the shear of the bow. Okay, so it gives it ties that in to a nice fit with the deck house at this point right here. This is not a toy. This is a model of what they call a harbor tug. There are hundreds of them. There are probably thousands of them in the United States today being used, both for the West Coast and the East Coast and Canada and the Great Lakes. They're used for any number of things to assist big tugs and moving big ships. They haul barges. They do service work. They do riprap work. They're normally in the range of about a 50-foot boat. This hull is very prototypical of what it would look like. This would have been a steam tug, probably converted to diesel at some point. That horn is a little oversized, but it looks nice up there. The model doesn't have to put it on there if he doesn't want to. This kit has been a real success. It's priced right. It's also a very easy kit to put together. Okay, I'm going to get away from this. Is called a harbor tug. They range 50 to 60 feet wide. I'm going to see. We're going to go to full hull kits. All right, that tug I just showed you is right here in a full hull. By the way, what I've talked to you about so far have been waterline hulls. That doesn't mean that the bottom of the hull that I'm putting in the kit is the waterline. What it means is it's the application of the hull is for waterline use. The bottom of the hull that's in these kits is actually deeper than the waterline, because in order to do good modeling and place the boat in an atmosphere are an environment of waves. Waves are up and down. They call it shallows. You've got to see the hull. You've got to be able to let the waves go down below the water line and show the hull below the water line. So when you buy a kit, you're getting something that's deeper then in the hull than the water line. But this is a full hull kit. Why would we bother with a full hull kit? Well, for one thing, the applications are super. One of the nicest things is to see a layout or a diorama with a boat on what they call the ways. The ways being a rail line going into the water and a boat being hauled up and worked on, or being launched out of the boat yard for a new launch. It really adds a tremendous amount of flavor to a layout, and it shows the entire boat, the lines of the hull. They're accurate. They're prototypically correct. Again, there's a boat. Let's see. There it is right there. Let me see. I think this one's sitting in a yard, just sitting, waiting to have something done. But it's a full hull. And again, this is the same tooling that we use on the other. This is a boat on the ways. Okay, this is being hauled up, or maybe to paint the bottom or do some work on it or something of that nature. So that's the purpose of the full hull. Not all the kits have full hulls. We have to pick and choose because we don't sell a lot of full hulls, and it's quite an expensive proposition to make a full hull for every boat. I'm just going to real quick go. This is a boat that maybe some of you folks do know about. It's basically was, some of you know it as a Taurus. It's not quite the design of the Taurus, but it's a famous boat that's down in Mystic Museum in Mystic, Connecticut. This is probably one of the more difficult boats to build. And in this, I don't believe have the parts laid out on the website for this. But again, this hull is all made for you. You don't make the hull. And again, the cabins are just building a wall. That's all you're doing. It's building walls. It's putting 4 walls together. The lines are already cut into the walls for you. You can see the roof even has a dip in it. Okay. All right. I'm going to get away from the boats for a minute. I'm going to go to the parts and fittings. We found that when I first went into business, my idea was to have folks do a lot more scratch building than they're doing today. Scratch building and kit bashing seemed to me to be something that we at Seaport here should push hard. I'm not sure if it'll ever catch on in a big way, but I can tell you my first 10 years of trying to sell scratch building parts was a disaster. It's gotten better over the years. We're selling a tremendous amount of parts and fittings. And now we're getting more people asking to buy the hulls. Just buy the hull from us and build their own walls, build their own mast, do their own rigging, create their own boat. That's what I thought 25, 30 years ago, that's what should be happening. And it's beginning to happen a little bit now. I'm really pleased about that. So we're going to put more of the hulls back on the website and make them available. But even if a hull isn't on the work site, if somebody wants a hull to a particular boat, we'd be more than happy to sell it to them. But basically, fittings is becoming a major part of our business. Blocks and pulleys, we've got the basics for HO here. We're having a hard time keeping them in stock. It's just very difficult. We sell cradles for some of the small boats that we sell, and That's been something that's been very helpful to the modeler. They don't have to build it. It's the things that we sell a lot of is cleats, actually any part that is used in the assembly of a boat, such as ventilator, the cowls, the whistles, tires, that type of thing. We're seeing more and more being sold, and it being sold because people are either adding to kits or they're doing more scratch building. My dream was to do buildings. I like building buildings. So I said, well, I'm going to do some buildings. And I got tied in with a gentleman who a lot of us know, and we decided to try a couple. And one of them was what they call Hooks out of Boston, Mass. Building is subsequently burned down, but Captain Hook Lobster Building is a waterfront building. And the reason we did this was that I have a line of lobster boats, and they've been very popular over the years. This fit in just perfectly with the lobster boats and the HO lobster boats. This building is HO. This is a fantastic kit. Glad we did it. It's still in demand. We're not going to take it off the market. This building right here, I did this because I have a friend in, maybe you folks know him as George Barrett. George has been a big factor in my growth in the industry, and I wanted to build him something. So I built him Barrett's Fish Market. This is a great little kit, and named it after George, and made a truck for him. That's a Sylvan truck. This kit comes with the launch. It comes with everything you see in terms of fittings. Comes with the docks. Comes with the breakwaters. I love doing buildings. Okay. One of the things that I decided to do a couple of years back was we were getting a lot of calls for Great Lakes boats. And I don't know the Great Lakes boats at all. I know a little bit about them, but not a lot. I didn't know what a fishing tug was in the Great Lakes. The fishing tug in the Great Lakes is an ugly boat. But knowing my friend Claire Gilbert up in Canada, chatting with him, and I said, Claire, I said, I think maybe I should be carrying your boats. And Claire said, yeah, you should be carrying my boats. So we decided to carry Claire's boats. This is a fishing tug. I think this is an ugly boat, to be quite honest with you. But we sell an awful lot of these. This has been a big seller. It's a fish tug. It's an actual fishing boat in the Great Lakes. With that connection with Claire at Sylvan, we have been able to offer pretty much anything you might want in the commercial aspect of the Great Lakes. So we're gonna continue to carry his line and support him and work with him and just make his business grow. And he also does vehicles. He's a talented man. He does a great job on his model boats. He has a completely different approach to building kits than I do, but the end result is the same. He does a great kit. I can't think of much else to say here. Just maybe because it's past my bedtime. I don't know. But
well, Bruce, I tell you, I'm really impressed here. You make HO kits, right? Do you make any other scales?
yes, I do. Yeah, we do. Come down here to end boats and hulls.
Okay.
This will give you. There's a barge. There's a waterline work boat. There's another barge. There's a sardine carrier, the workboat. This is a derrick barge. Miscellaneous other hulls.
How
That's an
about,
end.
how about
Go ahead.
S scale or O scale? Do you make those scales too?
Not S. No, O scale, I have a little bit of O scale, okay?
Okay.
O scale, we're gonna go to lobster boat. I like lobster boats.
Yeah.
So I did a lobster boat, and this is a full hull, comes in waterline as well. This is a beautiful model, just a freestanding model. By the way, the castings we use on all of these boats, they're a combination of metal, pewter, and resin. The hulls are probably all made of resin. The superstructures are made also of etched brass. The little tug that we have, which is called H-125 Harbor Tug, that's that brass superstructure. The car ferry and buoy tender that we do, that's a brass brass deck house and a brass pilot house on top of it. This kit right here is made now with laser cut wood superstructure and a resin hull. And it is now, it's not a solid resin hull, it's just a shell. So you have the full aspect of having a real boat with real floorboards. It's just a beautiful kit. That's O scale. That would be a 32-foot O scale lobster boat.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really impressed with what you've been showing us and what you do. As you know, and you've seen some of them tonight, I have a series called Build Along.
Yeah.
Where a modeler actually builds a manufacturer's model in short segments. I call it How You Eat an Elephant, One Small Bite at a Time, over a period of weeks until the model is done. And if you would be interested in doing one of those shows with one of your models, I'd really be interested in talking with you about that, because I think this is something that's different, and a lot of modelers have never really tried to build a boat model.
I can certainly do the building of the kit in a slow fashion, and the technical aspect of how I'm going to get that message to you might be an issue for me, but if you'll help me with that, we could probably do that.
Well, I'm happy with that, and
Okay.
And I'm gonna count on Phil to help guide you through the technical aspects of that. Now, let me ask you this. For the modelers on the show that want to buy the kit and build it along with you, how about giving them a discount off the cost of the kit?
I have to talk to my boss. That's my wife, but I think we could probably do that.
That would be great.
I wouldn't tell you on the show right now what that'd be. I'm too much of a Yankee.
I understand that. I'm not asking that. I'm too much of a bargainer to worry about it tonight.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
And you need to think about what kit you want to build. Because again, I'd like to see as many people be able to build along with you as possible in the different scales. And so it may not be exactly the same kit, but if the same techniques and it's almost the same kind of kit, that would be great. I think if you could figure that out.
Yeah, maybe in the lobster boat.
Yep.
They're probably the easiest, the starting boat that I would recommend that anybody starts with is probably the sardine carrier. I don't happen to have that finished in O scale. I've been working on that one now for, I don't know, maybe 15 years in the O scale. It's pretty slow with the bench sometimes, but this is the sardine carrier. This kit is basically 4 walls, house done for you. Get a little bit of rigging, little mask work. This is probably one that we might want to do. And it's not an expensive kit to begin with. It's not a $119 kit.
That we could sure do that. And again, this would probably be in February before I can schedule you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some time for you to think about which kits you'd like to do and how we're going to structure this. But I just need to know that you want to do it and get you in the schedule.
Yeah, I'd be interested in working with you on that.
That would be great. I will call you later to do it. Does anybody else have any questions for Bruce?
I would just chip in and say that I agree with you on the proportions of those Great Lakes fishing tugs. They are ugly.
Actually, they started out as a tug, and then they went and covered them in for the comfort of the cruise and being out in the wintertime fishing. Yeah, and they turned out ugly.
Yeah.
I'm a Canadian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have found, I took a little liberty. I went online and I started looking for fish tugs in Canada. And I found out that a lot of them have been bought out and used as yachts or, pleasure boats now. But I also found out that a lot of them had really cut the walls out and really made the inside of these things beautiful, with all types of woodwork. And so some of them are quite beautiful now that I've seen out there. But the fish tug is a working tug. Yes, I thank you.
Yeah, Bruce, I have a question. This is Greg Cassidy.
Yeah.
I know how a lot of others got into modeling. How did you get into modeling boat business? Was your family in boating, or was that a previous lifetime of yours?
Yeah, I grew up in Barrington. I didn't grow up in Barrington, Rhode Island, but my dad lived down there and spent my summers in Narragansett with a cat boat and a Margaret B sailboat. And so that was my life. And then in my adult life, I continued to crew on a J36 and a Herreshoff 43 day boat racing.
Mm.
And I've owned a few boats, and they've owned me more so than I've owned them. And I'll never do another boat. But I will tell you that this summer.
Isn't that what all boaters say?
Yeah. It's the best day of your life is the day you buy that boat. You have tears in your eyes. And the second best day of your life is the day you get the money back in your pocket. But I just finished a book by Jim Sharp. And next time I see you guys, I'll let you know what the name of the book is. I'm just finishing it tonight, I hope. And it gives the story of owning boats. And he owned many, many boats in Camden, Maine over the years, from tugboats to rowboats. And it was a great, great book. Good stories in it. But yeah, and then I actually, to tell you, I like to work with wood. I built models from the time I was a kid, and I did a barge. Matter of fact, it's the barge that's in this, it's in one of the, it's an HO or N scale barge out of wood. It's about, 5 inches long, 3 inches wide. And somebody that owned a retail store locally says, I go to the big show, he says, in Amherst, Mass. He says, can you make some of those in resin? I said, I don't know what resin is. I said, but I'll find out. And I did, made molds and made some. I took him to the guy, gave me a corner of the table. He wanted 45% of everything I sold. I thought it was pretty high, but that's all right. I'll go. And I brought about $1,200 worth of these things with me at $16.95 a piece. I didn't go home with one. And I said, you know what? I'm not the brightest light bulb in the world, but there's something here to the hobby I enjoy. And then it didn't become a hobby anymore. It became a business. So.
Yeah, but you let all of us enjoy it. Thank you.
That's one of the greatest things. I'll tell you, I probably talk to somebody on the phone 3 times a week, a modeler that's got questions about a kit he bought from us or from you or from whoever. And thank the Lord, a lot of these guys are my age and older. Of course, I'm quite young still, but they're just made some really fine friends, and I know we've been helping some people out there enjoy their lives. So that's the part that we enjoy.
Hey, Bruce, any chance of getting you back to Timonium next year?
Oh, boy. We'd like to go back. I think what happened this time was Danny, who he's my right-hand man when it comes to hauling and all that heavy stuff. He had his back operated on. He's still out of work. So we're hoping he's going to be ready for Springfield. I'd like to go back. I think, I understand there were some people looking for us again, and I was talking to Jeff Grove and Steve, Miley, and yeah, probably. We won't go all the time. It was more, that show would be more for us to go down there and meet the folks and talk and enjoy the fellowship. We can't go down there with the idea of paying our way, because probably isn't going to happen. But that's what it really is. So, yeah, I thank you for asking.
Bruce, it's Paul Thomson here. I wanted to ask you, do you have any idea what kit you would use to build one of those logging bond boats?
The logging boat?
Yeah, the one they use in the ponds.
Okay, so those are wooden boats. They're usually double-ended, right?
Yep.
And they usually have a high freeboard, very heavily constructed. I'm just trying to think. Your question is there?
Which one would you use the kit bash?
Yeah, I'd probably go to a dory kit.
Okay.
And the dory kits that I know of, Hal Reynolds from Atlanta, Hal Reynolds has a small one for NHO. That would work, but you'd have to beef it up. You'd have to beef it up. Yeah, you would. I think you'd have to raise you'd have to raise the sides of it. Good question, because a lot of guys are in that, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
I enjoyed this very much.
Great. Well.
Anyone else?
I guess I must have covered everything, huh?
Absolutely. And we're looking forward for you to come back too, Bruce.
I look forward to coming back. I really do. Thank you for all seriousness. I thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. And to everybody else, thanks so much for coming. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Most importantly, I hope you learned something. So join us again. And until next Wednesday, happy modeling to you. Thanks again for coming. Night.